Hello and welcome to my nice, concise Barbarian showcase for Diablo 4 Open Beta. Right off the bat, I gotta say I've been immensely enjoying the beta so far. Playing with the builds and itemization has been a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to see what the game looks like further down the line. Obviously, it's the beta, and plenty of this could change, but the game seems to be in a pretty solid state already other than some connection and memory issues. I will say if I tried streaming, my computer might actually explode. But that aside, let's take a look at what we can do with Barb. So, one of the skills I locked onto first was Upheaval. It seems pretty cracked, being that it's an AoE and has a built-in 80% damage bump, which I thought was pretty juicy, and of course paired with Frenzy means you're ramping that bonus up pretty quick. All the time. It's a pretty simple bread and butter combo of build and spend, and it feels good to just blast groups of mobs with giant AoEs, so it's what my gear was pretty much centered around. Jumping right in, some of the first legendaries I found had what I thought were some pretty crazy bonuses, and the more I collected, the more I realized the potential of what we could accomplish. One of my earliest legendaries happened to be this lovely little aspect that builds up to 180% bonus damage while overcapping Fury, and here's a short demonstration of the ramp time and the speed for that, which just so happens really doesn't take very long at all. The principle is simple, as I mentioned before. Frenzy generates 2 stacks for upheaval with each auto, as each auto is 2 weapon hits for a total of 10, and we pop Rallying Cry to quickly overcap our Fury and hit 180 stacks in just a handful of autos. Now, we're capped at 25 for this particular beta, so it didn't take too long to start shredding through groups of mobs pretty easily with some nice upgrades. As you can see here, you start one-shotting even some of the chunkier mobs once you're hitting in the early thousands. But with all the potential I could see for more upgrades, better stat weights and itemization, I just couldn't help but push to see just how high we could go. Here's a quick look at the gear that I ended up with right at the end of the beta. Feel free to pause if you want to really read through all the bonuses and check out all that strength! My god. But this is what we are working with, and I'll quickly dip into the point build as well and do some short rundowns on how we're stacking up the modifiers. So here we have Frenzy right at the top. It's the fastest way I've found to stack Upheaval with a nice passive bonus we've spec'd into for some mitigation. We flesh out Upheaval as it's our core skill, making sure to get our stacking 80% damage boost. We get our point in Rallying Cry, the resource generator down here. Nice additions to have Unstoppable and bonus Fury generation there at the end. We love seeing big numbers, so naturally, if we're going to pop off, we're going to need to cap out Warcry and make sure we're always berserking when we pop for another 25% damage on top of the Warcry bonus. More damage, you ask? Definitely. Which is why we want a nice guaranteed vulnerable for multiple targets, which we get with Steel Grasp just a few points in. We had a leftover point, so I threw it into, more damage to our close range friends. And then our last 3 final points going to Call the Ancients. I like the relatively short cooldown, it does big damage, but mostly the thought here was we spec deeper, and it's another source of additional fury from Corlix autos, more attack speed for even more generation while active, and of course, 10% more damage. And I mean, come on, just lay it on there, you can't go wrong, more damage. So now you start satisfying the conditions for all your other legendaries and add it all together, and you end up with some pretty hefty numbers. You've got 10 stacks of Upheaval, 180 stacks of our bonus damage to our next core skill, hit an elite to pop our barrier and get even more percent bonus damage for having a shield on, Steel Grasp them in and make them vulnerable, pop your Warcry and trigger Berserking, get even more damage for already overcapping your Fury, and then club them in the head for almost 40,000. We don't always need to satisfy every bonus, since we're already in pure overkill, but it sure does help for bosses. 38k was the highest I captured before the beta ended, but I could have seen even higher. I didn't even pop my ult in that clip, and that's another 10% damage. Of course, it's hard for anything to live long enough to take the hit if you pop your ult. It just goes to show what you can achieve by itemizing and putting the time in, and there's still so much more to explore once we get to level 100 and get into the Paragon tree. I'm hyped to see what kind of crazy builds people come up with and experiment myself once the content has arrived. So, finishing up, I look forward to the next beta test for more contents, trying out a little Necromancer and Druid, and seeing even more disgusting amounts of damage. I hope everyone enjoyed the video, and as long as I'm having fun with D4, I'll be making more for the future. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.